right. Forms and such. Nope. Okay, so if I go to the, that's not what I wanted. Beginning forms, AP forms, multiple choice, AP review tests. So if I go to where you guys put your responses in last week, then I can click on responses. Here's the distribution. There were 6 questions. 2 people out of my 50 people got a 1. 4 people got 2 of the 6 right. 3 people, nope, 12 people got 3 right. 12 people got 4 right. 10 people got 5 right, and 7 people got all 6 right. So we're hoping to grow that stack in the future. And then it tells me the question that was under 50% was number 12. Then it gives me your individual scores, which I'm going to go through really quickly. Number 1 had 76% of you, 35 out of 50 got it right. Number 2 had 36 out of, or number 7 had 36 out of 50. Number 12 only had 16 out of 50. That's not great. Number 15 had 27. That's not super great either. That's why it's up on the board. Number 24 had 32. That's not terrible. This is nice. 40 out of 50 people got 29 right. So with that being said, we are now going to take a look at the 3 that I deem most important. And that does not mean if you missed 1, 7, or 29, I will be happy to go over that question, but not right now. And you might have to mark it like, oh, before I have to do this for accounting, I better talk to her about this one. So if you missed one of these other ones, 1, 7, or 29, you need to make note to ask me, because I'm not going to go over that today. So what is the bottom of the paper for? The bottom of the paper is, if you missed number 12, you need to put question number 12. It's descriptive statistics. That's what DS stands for. And you need to make a note of why you missed it. And you probably can't make that note until after we discuss it. So we're going to discuss that problem right now. Here's number 12. Number 12 was kind of a trick question, to be completely honest with you. Number 12 was a bit of a trick question. It says, here is the mean, the median, and the number in the sample for 2 sample measurements. What is the median if you combine all of the samples together? So if you combine all these together, you get 47. Now, I can find the mean very easily, because the mean would be pretending I had 21 42.6s and 26 49.2s, and if I add all those together and then divide by 47, that would equal the new mean. So if you put C down, you're finding the new mean. If you put D down, then you were thinking, oh, I can find the new median just like I find the new mean. But what's the problem with that? Is there an arithmetic formula for the medians? Medians are simply what? They're positional. They're in a certain spot. The only way you can find a median for sure is if you are given the data. Are we given the data? Nope, we're only given the statistics. So it cannot be determined from the given information, and what you might want to put back on this sheet is that medians are positional, no formula to find it. You must have the data, at least from where? They don't have to give you the whole data set, but what do they need to give you? Well, not just min and max. I'm thinking, where's the median at? In the middle of the data set, right? So you must have the data from the centers of each set. And even then, I'm not sure you can combine them exactly. So you can't do that one. Tricky. All right. Number 15 was next. And I can't find number 15. Where'd you go? Here we go. All right. I think that if you had to do this problem right now, that almost, I'm hoping, I would have at least 45 out of 50. Because what is the answer to this? Which one has pushed its data away from the middle the most? D? Does everybody agree with D now that we've done all that matching stuff? Standard deviation to, let's see, to be largest. Look for data to be, I call it pushed away from center of distribution. So I think that's just something that we missed because we hadn't really reviewed that very much yet. All right, and the last one has something to do with what we're going to do today. The last one says, look at that histogram, try to match it to a box plot. Well, they give you the outlier test, which we're told that they're always going to give you the formula if you need it. So we're going to write that formula on our green paper here in just a minute. Can somebody explain the process of how they eliminate things to get down to the right answer? Anybody want to do that for us? Don't volunteer all at once. Okay, I am picking Caden.
What's the right answer?
Well, the right answer, I believe, is D.
Okay.
So tell me how you eliminated some of them.
Well, there's an outlier, that last one. But,
And they tell us it's at 93.
And the next data point over is around like 70.
Yeah, it's in the 60s to 70s somewhere. We don't know. It could be both 62s. It could be both 69 and 69.7. We don't know. So that tells me
The line's going to extend to 60 or 70.
the line, the whisker has to stop between 60 and 70. And this whisker stops after 80, and that whisker stops after 80, and that whisker stops after 80. So right now, using partial credit multiple choice, I can get rid of 3 of the 5 answers, and if this were a test, I could get a 3 out of 4. Now, how do I eliminate the last piece?
I think I found the median.
Yep, because they tell you that there's 26. So 26 divided by 2 gives me, the median is between 13 and 14 position. So what did you do next?
I counted 13 and 14.
Yep, 6 and 4 make 10, and this 6 will give you 16. So somewhere in that stack from 20 to 30 is your median. So now go look at these 2 lines. Is that middle line between 20 and 30? Yep. How about this middle line on the box? Is that middle line between 20 and 30? Nope, it's too low, so it can't be C and it has to be D. Good. All right, I think they told you what the answers were when you submitted them, and I used to have them written right up here, but I will tell you what those answers are. I will tell you right now, so you can make sure you have or know what you got correct or incorrect. So, come on, okay. The answers are dog, egg, dog, dog, oh, I think I'm wrong on that. Cat, dog, egg, dog, dog, egg. So let me put those down. The answer should have been, for 1 is cat, 7 is dog, 12 is egg, dog, dog, egg. So it was cat, dog, egg, dog, dog, egg. Those are the answers for the 6 that I had you do. And we'll be doing more out of this. The probability ones are actually quite challenging, and we're doing probability this week. So we're not going to do the probability ones until after this week. All right, anything else? Does anybody have a question on 1, 7, or 29 that I can answer in the future? I will circle that and write that down to be done at a later date. I mean, this is your time to figure out what you don't know how to figure out. So does anybody want one of those? 1, 7, or 29? Going once? All right. Rourke, you're all good with 1, 7, and 29? Okay. I think I saw thumbs up, right? Yes? Okay. All right. So, what are we going to do today? Today I'm going to talk about Boxplots a little bit more, and then you are going to do a team challenge quiz that counts as a team challenge quiz. It'll be 20 points, and you will get 7 minutes to work on it by yourself, and then you will get to work on it with your team, and I'm going to grade it by the rubric. When I do this, the rubric scores, as we now know, are 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. A 4 is a 20. A 3 is an 18, which is still an A. It's just an A minus. A 2 is a 16, which is a B instead of being 50%. A 1 is a 14, which I think was 14 out of 20. That's a C, right? That's 70%. And a 0, if you put something down, you'll at least get 50%. So that's how I scale from the rubric to 20 points every time you do a team FRQ. All right? So, Rourke, you need the field day paper. That's what I'm going to be doing with your classmates. And some of you, how many of you recognize this problem? Did I give you one, Will?
Yeah.
I meant the front, Will, sorry. All right, so do you have that at least up where you can see it, Rourke? Got it. Okay. Anybody recognize this problem? The people who would recognize it would be the people who actually took a final exam in honor statistics. Once upon a time, we had things called final exams. I know, it's really disheartening, isn't it, that you didn't have to take final exams the last two semesters? What a bummer, huh? Me too. I was absolutely against having you guys do that for a variety of reasons. We were going to have to give you a virtual exam even if you weren't on the virtual list. Like you could claim you were too scared to come in after Christmas, so you're gonna just be home doing it virtually. And yeah, we all know about that. I don't have to say any more. Plus, once I gave the final exam out to the world electronically, I'd never be able to use it again. So if they were going to force me to give final exams, I would have given one question this past fall or last spring, and it would have been, how do you like that this is the only question on your final exam? Yes or no? And that would have leveled the playing field for everybody. There wouldn't have had to been any cheating and any getting mad about this person cheated and that person didn't. And I just was not going to open up that can of worms. Because I know. In fact, the very first test, you want to know what I did when I walked around the room? I'm like this. What cheat sheets do they have hidden in their shields? Because that's a perfect place to put a cheat sheet. Any cheat sheets here? They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking for cheat sheets in your shields. They're like, oh, that's an awesome idea. I'm like, I know. Because I've been here too long. I can tell with my eyes closed if you've cheated on your homework. Seriously. It's sad. But it's like your mom always knowing stuff. Well, I've done this is year 30, so I don't really look for cheating, but there's just something in my body that goes, cheating. I'm like, oh, okay, let me figure this out. All right, this is one of my favorite little cartoons. This girl says, can my boyfriend come along? And the guy says, I'm not your boyfriend. Well, you totally are. I'm just casually dating a number of people. But you spend twice as much time with me as anyone else. I'm a clear outlier. So the boy says, well, your math is irrefutable. And the girl says, face it, I'm your statistically significant other. Because a value that's way out there is usually considered to be statistically significant. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about outliers and box plots. And what I have in this here box, I would like you to add to your green paper. So get your green formula sheet out. It's fluorescent. And I had it out, here it is. I have 2 notebooks. All right. So it's fluorescent green. And somewhere on the front, up at the top, hopefully over by the side, you can actually, you don't have as much space as I do, but you can make a box over here and put outlier test. And this is what you should put in that box. Can everybody see that enough, or do I need to move that up? Is that good now? Why didn't the AP people just put it on the green sheet? Well, it's kind of, in my mind, a little bit funny. This is a brand new formula sheet that was supposed to be used for the very first time last spring, and that didn't happen. It is so, so much nicer than the crap they gave us a couple years ago. The one that they gave us a couple years ago, you hardly would have ever referred to it, but this is so much nicer. So why didn't they put that on there? Well, they wanted to be able to have the sheet sort of be not that much different because of all the scores they've been using to norm their tests with over the years. And they didn't want to have to start from scratch with all their statistics that they keep on the statistics AP test. So instead of putting it on the sheet, they said, well, if we ever ask them to do an outlier test, we'll give it to them. And you can see that that's kind of true because the one quiz, the one thing we did right here had the outlier test written for you. All right. Okay. So what I want to do today is just go over quickly how to do the outlier test, and then make sure we can do a comparison real quick, and then we'll do our FRQ on the box plots. That doesn't have a whole lot to do. I mean, you're not going to have to calculate outliers on your team FRQ. But, okay, let's do this. Students, the mean is 990, the median is 925, the minimum is 375 for them to complete this obstacle course. Somebody did it in 3 minutes and 3.75 minutes. The maximum time for the students was 16.5 minutes. Lower and upper quartile were given, and then here come the faculty. The faculty had somebody that was pretty quick. They did it in 4.5 minutes. And then they had somebody that got lost among the roses or something, and this is always fun for me because you get to pick who it is that didn't make it through, and some of you would pick on Mr. Link and say, yeah, he heard a marching band and went to join them and tell them how their lines weren't straight enough, and he got carried away helping them and forgot he hadn't finished the obstacle course. Or you'd pick on Turk and say, yeah, Turk saw a rock climbing site and went over there and had to climb up and down the rocks before he finished them. Or you can pick on Mr. Coltis or somebody. Mr. Coltis, back in his day, was actually quite a good 100-meter dash, 100-meter or 100-yard dash at the time, and then we went to meters. He was actually pretty quick. All right, so we're going to do this for the students. So let's do students, and let's do the bottom first. Students bottom outlier, that's going to be Q1, which is lower quartile. This is Q3, this is median. Okay, so it's going to be 6.75 minus 1.5 boxes. And the length of the box is 13.75 to 6.75. And if I subtract that, I get what? 7? And what's 7 plus half of 7? 7 plus 3.5 is 10.5. This right here, this 10.5 is kind of my outlier test. So when I have my box, you don't have to write this part down. When you calculate the length of that outlier test, you're going to put it at the top and see if anybody is beyond it, and you're going to put it at the bottom of the box and see if anybody is below it. So that's what that 10.5 means. All right, so we're going to get 6.75 minus 10.5, and that's going to equal a negative number. What negative number is that? I don't know, negative 3 point. What is it, Hannah?
Negative 3.75.
Negative 3.75. All right. Point right there. And then I go up above to see, are there any people who ran this race in negative time? Nope. You can't do that, right? You can't be faster than a second or two, and even that, you know, you'd have to do a flash or something. Okay. So this is none. So let's do the top then. Top outliers is going to be almost identical, except for we take 13.75 and add on the 10.5. And that gives me 24.25. So I go up to the student maximum. Is there anybody beyond 24.25 minutes? Nope. So there's none for the students. All right. So I'm going to change colors and I'm going to do the teachers or faculty. That would allow Mr. Gabriel to compete. Maybe he was the 4.5. Okay, so let's do the bottom. Bottom outliers is going to be Q1 for the faculty, which is 8.75 minus 1.5 times 15.75 minus 8.75, and guess what that is? What is 15.75 minus 8.75? That again is 7, and 7 times 1.5 itself is the 10.5 again. That happened by coincidence, by the way. That doesn't always happen. Okay, so 8.75 minus 10.5 is again equal to a negative number, which is 1.75. Is it negative 1.75? Thank you. And nobody can run it in negative, so I don't know why I circled that, but there's no bottom outliers. All right, now I'm just going to take the 15.75 and add on 10.5, and I'm going to get 26.25. And if I take that up here to the faculty maximum, I see that there is somebody that was an outlier. But there could be more than one. Or is there just one? We told you something in the prompt that tells us that 30 is the only outlier. What did we tell you? All the teachers completed the course in 24 minutes except for this person. So 24 was the next highest number, and 24 is less than 26.25, so I know there's only one outlier. All right, let's make the box plots, and I think, I'm not sure there's enough to go by one, so I'm going to go by twos. And I'm going to go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. So I'll put some of these in. You can put them all in. You probably can write smaller than I can. And get these written down. All right, I'll put the students in green. And if I can find my copy of this, it'll be easier than going up and, oh, duh, I just handed it out. Not in your packet. Okay, so the students start at a minimum of 3.75. And I need to make that thinner. The first quartile is at 6.75. So make sure you're writing down your numbers up above. The median is at 9.25. Kind of close together. 13.75. And the maximum is at 1650. And I know it's not an outlier, so here is my student box. And I'm going to put students. So it's very nice, kind of compact, relatively symmetric. There's not a terrible amount of skew going on. If you take the first half and move it to the second half, they're almost the same length. All right, now for the teachers. The quickest teacher was at 4.5, and then the lower quartile was 8.75. And the median is at 11. And this is not very neat, but best I can do at this moment in time. 15.75. See, it's my vertical challengedness that is really making this difficult. But then we go all the way out to 24 and we stop. We don't go to 26.25. That just tells us what's an outlier. And then I put an asterisk at 30. And this is where reading comes in handy, because if you read, you will find that you actually are not expected to do the whole comparison. They just want you to compare the what? For part B, you're just asked to compare the, anybody? Variability, which means what? Spread, range, standard deviation. What's the easiest for us to compare right now? Do we have a standard deviation? Did they give us that? So what are we going to have to use? The range and the spread, right? Okay. The distribution of student obstacle course finish times is what? Give me a comparison word.
Smaller.
Yep, or smaller, or less variable. I was thinking of just spitting their words right back to them. That's a really good habit to get into for every AP test question in any subject. I call it regurgitate the prompt. Write a few sentences comparing the variability of the two distributions. The distribution of student obstacle course times is less variable than the distribution of faculty times. How do you know? Well, I know because the range of student times is, and then I usually put a little math, just in case, they were looking for something else. 1650 minus 3.75, which equals what? 12 something? 12.75? 12.75 minutes. Now we'll use your word. This range is smaller than the range of the faculty times at 30 minus 4.5 is equal to 25.5, I believe. It's almost double. Which tells me that overall the students were much quicker and more similar in their running times than the faculty was. But even if you put on the 24 minutes, that's still 19.5, and that, I mean, even if you take out the faculty outlier, you still have a much bigger spread, more variability. Any questions on that? Okay, I in no way, shape, or form think that you are going to have to need the rest of this class period to do this last activity. But I am very confident that some of you will finish at a much different rate than the others. And I'm going to split you up from this room to Miss Kramer's room to Miss Fruchter's room. So we only have 2 or 3 groups in here instead of all whatever groups I'm deciding. So what I would like you to know is what your homework is. But first, does anybody have any questions on this? I just wanted to make sure we went over outliers at least once. Okay, so what is your homework? This is your homework. You already have the comparing GPA by gender distribution. It's a pink piece of paper and it has a little guy graduating and a little girl graduating. And does somebody have it so I can hold it up for everybody to see? It was one of the pink papers you got the first day. Yep. It looks like this. Does everybody still have that? Rourke, do you still have this? Okay, Rourke has it. Anybody not have it? All the other people in my other 2 classes have done this already because of the way I changed my mind last week. So you have this to do, which is lots of ER words. Like the distributions are or are not similar in shape, you need to use those for shape, center, and spread. And then your other homework problem is the serial problem, which I am giving to you right now. And you should be able to get one of these done before you leave, probably the graduation one that we just talked about. So these 2 pink pieces of paper are your homework. What should be in your red folders right now should be the pink catapult paper and any of those other signed papers that are due. Did I already give you one? Yes. Okay. I am really, really trying hard not to give you homework that's going to take you like over half an hour, and I think so far, that's okay. So far, has that been true or not? I mean, if you are with me during class, I'm honestly trying not to overburden you with homework. Yeah. All right, Rourke, this is one of the papers that you have to print out from that lesson. It's the cereal and sugar one. So you either have to print it out or you can just write it down from a PDF. And so before tomorrow, you should snap pictures of these and upload them to the spot, which I will have placed shortly. So that's your homework assignment. I guess I should say also, if you haven't been looking at your old honor stat stuff, do you guys remember pages like this? If you just had honor stat, we just did this right before Thanksgiving. We had a team test with Taco Tongue and Evil Eye. And then this is 6-1. We gave that to you. So they're usually on purple or pink papers. If you can find those, that would be great because there's a lot of useful handwritten stuff on those. We're going to start using those tomorrow. Also, don't forget to get your thing signed, and if you want to put in a comic caption for the pie chart, eye chart thing. I came up with another one this morning, but it's not polished yet either. Sometimes they just come to me, and a lot of times they don't. Okay, so that's your homework. And again, should you lose those pages, you can print from PDF the grade distribution page, and I think I also have the cereal page down here. Yep, front of the cereal. I picked Captain Crunch. Peanut Butter Captain Crunch is one of my favorite cereals. There's only one problem with Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. What is it? It destroys the inside of my mouth. Like my gums up by my teeth, it's just too crunchy. And I don't like it when it's soggy, because then it's like slime. Ooh. So, but it is my favorite cereal. I hardly ever eat it. The only time I usually eat it is those of you who, even last semester, I think we got to do that. I mean, last year in the spring. You guys remember the calorie counting contest, and we brought in all the food? And the people who had stats just recently are like, what? Food? Yeah, we didn't get to do it. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and try to do it maybe again for you guys. Okay, so that's your homework. And here is the FRQ. So you need to have your phones pouched and hanging on your desk, because I don't want anybody looking up the answer online. That would be frowned upon in this establishment. Apparently, riding the dog like it's a small horse is frowned upon in this establishment. Another one of my favorite commercials for an Arab trade or something. The little baby in the crib. Yes, no? Nobody knows what I'm talking about? All right. So we're going to do a team frappy, and this is what the team frappy looks like. It's all about Boxplots. Read carefully and think. And once I get these all passed out, you can, you'll have 7 minutes before I break you up into your groups, and then everybody, oh, don't write on this, like, you can take notes on the side or write on a separate piece of paper, but I wouldn't write up the final thing till I'm with my group. So you're just kind of sketching out what you think you should be doing. So if you want a scratched piece of paper, go for it. But I wouldn't put, especially not at 10, I would not put my final answers. This is one of my favorite problems. And this is only 3 years old. So it's a baby. It hasn't been out and about for many years. Did I give you one? Okay, we're doing the chemicals, potteries, and Boxplots right now. All right? And I'll put you with a group here momentarily. I'm going to tell you what group you're working with. And if you're leaving the room or moving your desk, I want you to take everything with you. All right? So, Mr. Pollock, Elena, Kelsey, Natalie, you guys are going to Miss Connie Kramer's room, which is that way. So take all your stuff with you so when you get finished, you can start working on the homework. I'll be down to help you in a moment. Allison, Mr. Volra, Alexis, and Rourke are going to Miss Fruchter's room to work. So somebody take Rourke with us. Are you going with the room? Nick, Allison, and Alexis. Along. Thank you. And I'll put off the. All right. Let me turn the volume off here. Otherwise, I get to hear everything. Okay. All right. So they left. They left. So we are going to have Stephen, Valerie, and Alexa. So Stephen's going to stay where he's at. Valerie and Alexa, you can use somehow the two desks right in front of him or beside him. Go ahead and move your stuff there. Hayden's over here. He's going to work with Maddie. So Maddie, you can come up here. And Leah, why don't you move up front? And Jameson, we're going to kick you out so that Nick can move up there. So Caden, Nick, Maddie, and Leah in this corner. Let's go to the back corner. Joey's going to stay where he's at, and so behind him should be Joe, Hannah, and Jameson. So Dominic, I'm having you move. I think the last group I have can be right up here with Amelia and Will. So Alexa, are you working with Steve? Yeah. I'm going to have you move over to there. Because we have Ainsley and Amelia. So William, we're just going to have you move right here. And if Amelia turns the desk around, then we have Dominic. And Dominic, we're just going to move. Maybe we can just have you guys all come back here. We're just going to have you guys all come back here. Because there's more space. There's more nicely spaced out. All right. And yeah, if you want to be close together, have your shields up. If you want to move back, you can take your shields down. Okay?
I just wrote like. That's what I did on the back. Yeah, I know.
Stephen wasn't listening? Thank you for putting me with two young ladies that are listening. You're welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
All right, you guys know what you're doing? I'm going to be randomly grading a piece of each of you. Even though there's only 3 pieces, one piece will grade twice and average the other. I just need to know these 6. All right?
But I said that if you have the
Yeah,
money,
you got this?
Okay, so for
I guess the site, so
it's like, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that,
I thought that would be like.
site one.
But I like the semester. Would you
Yeah, I
say,
said,
site 2 and 3
they're all
are
roughly
symmetric?
symmetric. Site 3 is the highest range of 8, followed by
I
site
think
1
site 1 is not
with 6, and then site 2 had the smallest
I
range.
would say it's
But we can.
yeah, for Z. For like the graph of site 1 for Z.
So it's,
They have tiny little
all
arcs
of them,
because they're
like,
big graph.
if they were like, if it's I also see it was illustrated. So I said they're all similar in that way, and then all the radians are the same. So 1 and 3, they're both like, and I said their only differences are spread at names. I just like I said it was like, and then like the main thing for site 1, I said the range was 6%.
We should say that they're all symmetric.
For site 2, I said it was 2. And then 3, I said it was 8%. That was really all.
I didn't put
How do we want to start?
the centers.
They're the same, but it's like that range.
So that's symmetry.
I labeled everything like percent. I said site 1 and
Spread is the number, so that's like the minimum to the tallest, and then the range is just the difference, so that's the tallest
and then
minus
I
the
said in
shortest.
site 2 is just smaller. Like smaller accurate range.
Which part of the like, I just said the 3 sites all had roughly similar means, with site 2 being slightly higher. Site 1 and 3 look pretty much the same.
Okay. I was kind of confused by what the first part of you was asking. I don't really understand.
I just had
Anybody in here need me?
Are you giving us all separate grades on this?
No, it's gonna be a group grade. I randomly pick somebody's part A, and then I randomly pick somebody else's part B, and I randomly pick somebody else's part C. So perhaps these two would like to peruse your paper when it's finished and say,
But he wrote it in colored pencil.
can't even erase it. Well, it's his lucky day.
Just buy a pack of pencils.
Dude.
It's his lucky day. Well, since you don't follow the directions, sometimes you get to start all over from scratch.
Oh my gosh, let's do the first part and the second part together before you
You guys in
do
good
you have
shape?
a pencil?
So far, it's at the.
Honey, I have pencils all the time, right here, look, even in your favorite color. What do you want? Green, blue, yellow, orange, pink?
Looks like 7.
Or do you just want a regular old run-of-the-mill
I
pencil?
said maybe check their about that.
Those will all be gone by then. Use a new one every day.
Hey,
You know what? Here's a little hint that I saw somebody do.
Mrs. Gruber got us.
Watch. Ready? When the day is done
Yeah, they don't do
and it's time to go home,
ranges.
just go like that. And then when you come to class tomorrow, it will be there.
Mrs. Gruber gave me a lane.
And she hung it up in her room.
I ended up losing both the pen and the pencil.
You know that this is borderline aesthetic, since you're going to college. Are you? Are your friends gonna let you go to
Yeah,
college?
my friends.
Are they gonna let you maybe try C? If you wanna have that. Or Geauga Lake? Because that way they can help you keep track of everything. If you live at home, your mommy can help you pack your lunch and find your pencils before you leave. Oh, will it? If Stephen was my son, he would be paying for his first semester of college, and then once that went okay, I would pay for the rest. Just saying. Maybe I'll tell Mama and Dad I failed, but that's my decision. That would be awesome. Like if it was more money than you were supposed to.
So for.
I didn't mention this right. I just
I said
I put the map for the
Yeah,
range,
right.
so I wrote like in
And
years.
because like all the Meridians,
So I'm not
between
saying
6
that
and 8, and if
but
we're added up.
They actually
like,
wouldn't
seven,
do that.
3 times that 8, and that's
Four
like
times.
He got more than
Do you
Yeah.
want Q3 are the same for
That
the,
makes sense.
Oh.
That's
do you want Q3?
He wasn't paying attention.
What did you say, what did the first part of the?
Why don't they have the same 4 times?
On site 3.
How are we doing?
So I just added up all the gains.
I think A takes the longest, and then B and C don't take quite as long. You guys are doing well. I'll be back. Oh yeah, I could pause my recording, but then I'll never remember to unpause it.